Disney Villains Land scrapped? What is going on over at Walt Disney World? Hello everybody, welcome. Disney Villains Land has been one of the most talked about expansions at Walt Disney World in years. But brand new information just threw everything into question. It has been over a year and a half since Disney first announced the creation of the long-awaited Disney Villains Land back in August of 2024 at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, California. And at that point, we got one single piece of concept art for Disney Villains, and it is spectacular. It got everybody excited, motivated, and said, this is what we're talking about. Disney is back. They are masters of creating concept art that is just gonna blow you away. But of course, the big question everybody has is that concept art gonna match up with reality and what we actually get in the park? After all, they have a history of pulling out amazing concept art and then not quite delivering it because of budget cuts or the realities of the architecture and development of it. But regardless, it still ends up being a phenomenal experience. Now, since that announcement and that single piece of concept art, we've gotten more and more details about what we are going to be getting in Villains Land. I've done lots of videos and talked about all the different things that are going to be coming, speculation, looking through the permits, looking at the different filings, and overall things just kept kind of not adding up for me. They were sort of aligned, but as more details were kind of coming out, I just started to feel like there was some mismatches in the filings, the construction, the details we were getting with the concept art. My most recent video, when I talked about the overall layout of the land based on the new filing we received, it just felt like this was a little bit smaller, a little bit less ambitious than I think what we were expecting based on the concept art, with only a handful of facility buildings that were going to have waste management attached to them. Now this filing, this layout isn't necessarily everything that was coming, but just based on the spacing and the buildings and the structures, just felt like maybe it was coming up a little bit short. And it seems like Disney might also be feeling that same thing. New information and rumors from some very prominent Disney influencers and insiders in the community say that Disney Villains Land, in fact, could be scrapped. This news comes from Len Testa. He is the president of Touring Plans, and he posted over at the WDW Magic forums, "I'm hearing the initial plans for Disney Villains Land have been scrapped. Imagineers have been told to think of bigger, bolder ideas. Budget secondary." Not sure if this is because of New Player's New Game, aka Josh D'Amaro, becoming the CEO. So you may be saying, who? Len Testa, this is one single individual. Len is a long-time prominent Disney influencer, very well connected in the community, and has come out with some speculation and rumors in the past that have been really spot on. So I think if he is coming out and reporting this and saying this, it is probably fairly accurate. In addition, we're now hearing confirmation from some other insiders that this is in fact true. So what exactly is the deal? Why would they be scrapping it? What do we mean by scrapping it? Are they killing it? Are they starting over? What does that mean? Let's take a look at what we were expecting and take a look at what this could potentially be changing. The first permits that we received from the South Florida Water Management District really gave us our first clue based on this large impact study for ecological reasons. I've done videos on this in the past. There's a huge, massive blue lines here in this space that talk about all the different areas that they were considering, because when they're thinking about doing construction in the back of Magic Kingdom, the Beyond Thunder Mountain area, the orange lines here are the limits of construction in that red area as well. So this is the space that we were playing with. But overall, the entire blue lines represent 700 acres, so plenty of space to do things with if they want to. But again, only a portion of this is for villains and cars. Now, we did our own speculation map on top of this, potential layout, potential rides, and features for the land, this sort of light purple space, the darker purple space. I've got a green area over here. You can kind of see it all together for the Villains Phase 1, a potential Villains Phase 2 if they go that way, maybe a Villains Hotel, which will be awesome, and then maybe some sort of Fantasy Springs Hotel, which again, that's way off in the distance. Maybe it's probably never gonna happen, but it was just something that I was speculating on how they could use that space. Then we got some recent filings for the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. This is a wastewater filing that gets down into details on where the wastewater will be running and where these particular facilities will be that will require wastewater management. We've been speculating that these lines could represent essentially where pathways would be, where drainage is required, how the facilities are connected through water. And it overall lines up pretty well with what we were expecting in the area, albeit maybe a little bit smaller and maybe a little bit less ambitious. And so when I overlay this layout on top of the concept art, it kind of matches up, but it feels like there are some things missing and it's coming up a little bit short. In my last video, I really tried to do a breakdown of what these buildings and their sizes are and what they could potentially be representing. But this is where I really first started to worry. When I kind of matched this up with the concept art, I just kept looking at it and saying, man, there's a lot of stuff missing. I realized that maybe you don't need a concrete foundation pad with wastewater, and maybe that's why they're not represented in the layout, or maybe this layout is just not accurate. But if it is, it really started to get me a little worried that they were thinking a little bit smaller and we were going to get another situation where the concept art doesn't match the reality of what we're going to get. So just to review quickly, we've got a 6,000 square foot building that I've marked as a question mark, which could be some sort of Haunted Mansion lounge, entrance into Villains Land, restrooms, additional queuing for Haunted Mansion. There's a 16,000 square foot building, sort of this long rectangle that I was thinking maybe a shops, restaurants of some kind, or maybe an emporium like on Main Street. A roller coaster 55,000 square foot building back in the corner there, which doesn't necessarily represent the entire roller coaster, but the facility building required for the roller coaster, maybe some internal theming. An 83,000 structure on the far right, which is going to be some sort of large dark ride. And then an 8,500 square foot building in the very back, which I believe is going to be representing sort of the railroad station back there, maybe some tangled restroom type structures, maybe something else. But the big question is, when you look at the concept art, where's the rest of this stuff? Where are the play pads? Where is the water fountain structure? Where are these buildings? I mean, there are tons of architectural buildings here. You've got things that look like maybe Cruella's mansion, Cinderella's chateau, the town from The Night on Bald Mountain, Queen Grimhild's castle, all sorts of structures, parapets, minarets. I mean, just really breathtaking views of buildings, towns. I'm just not seeing that in the layout of where these buildings are going to be. It just feels like it's missing. So unless that's just a bunch of facade and not real buildings that you can go into that have restaurants in them, shops and things in them, it feels to me like there are big gaps in this layout and size-wise compared to what we see in the concept art. So it seems like this could be very real, this issue that Disney Villains Land is scrapped. And what we mean by scrapped is reimagining it, rethinking it, not canceling it. It's gonna happen. They're gonna build it. But it seems like they're saying, forget budget. If budget was no obstacle, what would we do with Villains Land? Villains Land has to be amazing. This has to be the marquee thing that comes to Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom has to be right. It is the driver for all things Walt Disney World. So you've got Josh D'Amaro coming in now, previously who was the leader of the Disney Parks division, coming in now as the brand new CEO. He could be potentially shaking things up. This could have been a conversation that started prior to him becoming the CEO. These sort of rumblings that were coming across with him thinking, we got to do something more. And that something more could be reimagining it to something completely different, or saying, let's bring the concept art actually to life. Like, if you're gonna throw that concept art there, which is one of the best concept arts I've ever seen, we gotta actually build that thing. That could very well be what this means. That the concept art versus the layouts just weren't matching up, much less ambitious, and they went back to the Imagineers and said, you know what? We need you to make this bigger and bolder. And in the words of Walt Disney, if this was Walt Disney, he probably would have seen this and said, you know what? This is amazing, love it, spectacular, now plus it. Plus it up. Disney was the master of getting amazing things out of his creative teams, out of his Imagineers, because he always pushed them to go further and a little bit further and a little bit better. That could be what this is. They looked at it, they said, it looks good, but you know what? We need to plus it. We need to bump it up. And I'm actually excited about this if this turns out to be true. Of course, the big comment is budget secondary. Budget being secondary, not thinking about budget. They did that with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. There was supposed to be money is no object. Forget the budget. Build an amazing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And then inevitably, budgets got cut and the experience ended up where it is today. So that could very well happen with Villains Land if they do this. Budget secondary until it's primary. So we'll see what happens. So what does this mean? What could we be getting? What is the speculation around what is going to be changing? First thing is the roller coaster. In the concept art, the roller coaster looks spectacular. No idea what kind of ride system it was planning on using. But if I'm being totally honest, it has to be something on the level of Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Something that is family friendly, everybody pretty much can ride, and it's something absolutely spectacular, probably the best experiential type family-friendly roller coaster on the planet. It's gotta be something on that level. Don't know what their original plan was, but understanding is coaster's still in, but it's gotta be elevated. It's gotta be plussed up. The indoor ride, we've long been speculating that indoor dark ride was going to be some sort of Mickey and Minnie's or Ratatouille adventure, trackless attraction, which I'm sure would be fantastic, but reports are now they're kind of rethinking that and thinking, what could we do different? Maybe something more on the level of a Rise of the Resistance, which still is a trackless experience, but it is much longer experience. It is an end-to-end solution. The experience starts from the moment you step in line till the moment you get out of the vehicle. It's a very long experiential thing, and it is amazing. It could be that they're rethinking that and trying to come up with something different. It could have to do with the theming of the queue. Think about that dark ride structure is massive in scale. They could be making it even larger and also adding a lot more queuing elements to it, because you think about Villains Land, one of the questions is, well, it kind of needs to be dark for Villains Land, right? Like the darker it is, the more time you spend in the dark is going to make this a more impactful park. So if you think about the dark ride, they could have lots of queuing and things or experiences in the queuing area so that you're inside and it's dark for longer. Could be thinking about something like that as added elements. And then the big one outside of those attractions is I just think dining and restaurants and shopping. Again, I just don't see it on the layouts. It seems like they just threw a couple of small, shopping structures, or maybe some food booths, or maybe like a Gaston's Tavern in there, but no real Villains experiential, dining thing, like a Beauty and the Beast dining experience like we have at Magic Kingdom, like something on that level where they recreated the West Wing and they recreated the library and all these things, and there's a Beast interaction, like something on that level. I just don't see in the layout, and that's a huge missed opportunity. Now, it could be they were thinking that this would be a phase 2 to Villains Land, like launch Villains Land and then maybe later go in and add more attractions and use more of that space and maybe add an additional like Villains restaurant of some kind, because I just don't see it in the current layout. Again, there could be things missing from the layout, but I feel like that's a big element to this reimagining and rethinking. You just gotta have something like that. So again, looking at the concept art, I have no complaints about the concept art. If they brought that to life, I'd be in 100%, but they gotta bring it to life. And that could be what this all revolves around, not necessarily reimagining it. I still think Maleficent, dragon, castle, all that stuff's probably gonna be there. This could very well be less about changing the idea and more just about making sure that they execute it well. So the big question is this gonna push the timeline back? I've been predicting from the very beginning that this is a 2030, most likely a 2031 launch for Villains Land. No official word from Walt Disney World yet. I think with this reimagining, if it is scrapping and rethinking it, it's definitely going to push it to 2031, maybe even beyond 2031. So that's all I've got. Love to hear from you in the comments. What are you hearing? Again, this is rumor, speculation. It's based on a handful of people that are commenting that do seem to have a great track record of bringing this information forward. With Josh D'Amaro coming in as the new CEO, big fan of the parks. He wants the parks division to be a big driver of the Disney company's success. All these things seem to be lining up with the layout looking a little bit subpar. I don't know. I'm kind of in the category of I'm gonna take this rumor, this information pretty seriously. It seems like it could very well be true. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Have you heard anything? Do you have insider information? Are you hearing something opposite or different? Love to hear from you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this content. Of course, as always, thanks so much for watching. Till I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.